So, you just hopped on Steam and downloaded OnceHuman. Well, let me be the first to say congratulations. But now you're in game wondering, is there anything I should really know before I dive off the deep end and fully commit to playing this game? Well, let me hold your hand and give you a few tips. Here are 10 things you should know when playing OnceHuman. Tip number 1, pick up everything. Pick up every piece of junk you can possibly find. There is no such thing as a hoarder in this game. Every single item can and will become useful at one point or another, so just pick it up. And don't even worry about the carry weight. Items in OnceHuman weigh remarkably little, which means it'll take hundreds and even thousands of items before you can even reach your full weight capacity. And even if you start to worry about the amount of weight on your character, once you have a fully built disassembly bench, which should be unlocked very early in game once you have a few in-game ciphers, I highly recommend going down the skill tree and unlocking the large storage chest. It can hold up to 36 slots of items, and you can always use it to bank bulk amounts of items. Tip number 2, make sure you create a surplus of sanity gummies. Sanity plays a very important part in this game as it reduces your overall health bar. Lost sanity is indicated by this blue portion found here. Sanity in this game works a lot like radiation in the Fallout franchise, in a sense that sanity gummies are almost like Radaway. There's a ton of creatures and zones in this game that will lower your sanity, some more than others, so make sure to always have at least a few sanity gummies on you, and always keep a sanity gummy stash at home. Keep in mind that when you're out exploring to look for farms and their crops, especially beets, these can be cooked down into sugar, which is a major key component in maintaining your inventory of sanity gummies. Also, if you've unlocked the loamy soil or planter box and you find yourself with a mixed variety of seeds, you can plant beet seeds as well, and either one of those to produce your own crops. Just be mindful though, these need to be watered and have a source of light. Tip number 3, make sure you are checking and doing your journey tasks. Simply press J on your keyboard to bring up the menu and go under journey at the top. Each section will have a small list of requirements in order to complete it. Completing each journey task is the best way to farm experience and energy links early on in the game. These are simple tasks like build a bed, disassemble X amount of items, etc. Not only will these tasks grant you precious resources, but they'll also help you get accommodated with the game's mechanics and all it has to offer. And if you manage to complete a full section of a specific journey task, you're rewarded with a small amount of Star Crom and controllers, which will come in very handy later on in the game. Tip number 4, stop wasting your ammunition on mobs. In the early to mid game, you should try to melee kill all of the mobs scattered around. Ammunition can be quite scarce, especially early on, which is why you shouldn't waste it on trash mobs. Save it for those boss fights and for the enemies that are too dangerous for melee. Early game will also have you make a crossbow, which the ammo for it is pretty abundant, considering it only takes 2 items that are super easy to get early on. A simple stack of 5 arrows will only set you back 10 logs and 10 gravel, and about 5 seconds of real time. And if your arrows are connecting with enemies, they are retrievable, so you never have to worry about running out of the arrows too quickly. Tip number 5, kill everything you see. Blood for the blood gods, skulls for the skull throne. Kill every single mob you come across, especially the ones that are completely defenseless. This tip does sound a bit psychotic, and it kind of is, but it's actually a really useful habit to get into, as you'll have the means of a steady supply of rare resources at all times. Hinds in particular are really precious and always in demand, especially when making those higher sets of armor. Tip number 6, make sure you're always trying to participate in the world events. World events will pop up at random with these giant red circles indicating where the world event is taking place. Whenever you see a world event pop up, go for it. World events are a fantastic way to acquire unique resources that are hard to acquire otherwise. These resources can later be exchanged at vendors for unique items that can't be bought with regular currency. Tip number 7, don't forget weapon attachments. Weapon mods are great and everything, but weapon attachments are far better. They can drastically alter the functionality of your weapons, allowing you to customize your weapon to your specified needs. These can be bought at vendors in exchange for unique currency we mentioned in the previous tip. Another reason why you should do every event that you come across. Tip number 8, try to farm deviants on other worlds. If you're having trouble acquiring a specific deviant in your world, try migrating to another world by going to the teleport tower. Maybe you'll have more luck catching it there. The world lets you migrate everything you have on yourself whenever you change worlds, which is nice, and it's not just for deviant hunting. Tip number 9, Rush to unlock the copper pickaxe. Acquiring the copper pickaxe should be your #1 priority once you're into the main game. It triples your resource income compared to the starting pickaxe, and it makes the collection process move a whole lot faster. There is absolutely no reason why you should wait to unlock it, and the same goes for the higher end tools as well. Whether it be the alloy pickaxe, the drill, or chainsaw, each additional tier will yield higher results. Tip number 10, and possibly the most crucial one of them all, spam Q everywhere. There are resources behind every corner, so make sure to hit the Q as often as you can. Q is a default button to pulse, which highlights every collectible resource nearby. This is especially useful for finding mysterious chests, weapon chests, and gear chests, which hold the blueprints for all the higher level weapons and armor. It is also incredibly useful for finding the morphic crates scattered around the map. Keep in mind, when going to find these crates, you will notice a little yellow light that blinks on the back of your character. When it starts to blink really fast, simply hit Q and look around. This will uncover a morphic crate creature that will need to be defeated in order to claim your loot. If you're having trouble finding these, I highly recommend Map Genie's interactive OnceHuman map in order to steer you in the right direction and help you keep track of what you have and haven't collected within the game. And just as a bonus tip, make sure you pay attention to your deviants. When you capture a new deviant and place it into its isolated securement unit, you can walk up to it and press F to interact with it. When doing that, it will show you a multitude of different things: its name, what type it is, as there are 3 different types. Combat, which is indicated by red, is a deviant who has abilities that will assist a player in the open world dealing with enemy threats. Territory, which is indicated by blue, is a deviant who stays behind at the base camp and will farm materials or help with the production of goods, whether it be smelting or cooking. Crafting, which is indicated by yellow, is a deviant who is solely contained in its securement unit that will produce materials for making unique items. It will also show you its characterization, a power and mood bar, and something a lot of players don't pay much attention to starting out because they lack the items to meet these specified requirements. I'm talking about the deviant's securement environment. Each one of the items listed will help your deviants restore power and mood much faster, making them all the more effective. For example, take my Digby boy. He requires 3 different things: a red light environment, some music, and to be powered by a form of electricity. Simple things, mind you, but let me dive into that. In order to meet the red light requirement, you will need the following. Press O on your keyboard to open the Memetrics and Cradle menu and click on Memetrics. Then go under the building section. Scroll down shortly until you see Basic Furniture 2. Keep in mind that you will need all the other items bought in that list in order to unlock these items. Those items being wooden support, wooden doors and windows, and Basic Furniture 1. Simply build the red light and place it in the room with the deviant. I highly recommend taking all the deviants with the red light requirement and putting them into the same room as I have done here. This will give each of the deviants its met requirement for red light. Now, let's take a look at Digby Boy's second requirement, music. Thankfully, in the previous step, you should have already unlocked radio by acquiring Basic Furniture 2. Simply build it and place it on the floor or table if you have one, and the requirement should be met. The last thing our little Digby boy requires is 5 watts of electricity. To accomplish this, go back into your Memetrics again by pressing O on your keyboard. This time, under the Logistics tab, what we need is to get the solar generator. This will allow you a form of electricity for your base. This does take a bit of time to get, as finding the components was the hardest task. You will have to find enough fireproof plastics and refined parts in order to build one. The best places I found are here at the refinery pollution point in the Greywater Industrial Zone. These areas are where I had the most luck in finding the components. Keep in mind though, both areas are of a higher level, so take caution when being in here, as enemies can stack very quickly and hit quite hard. So hopefully, now you're a bit more knowledgeable about the world of OnceHuman. If anyone feels I missed anything, please let me know below in the comments. Also, make sure to hit the subscribe button, as each one helps the channel grow. Also, if you want to get notified when new videos drop, make sure to hit that bell. This has been Nynnox, signing off.